and greetings from the Basque Country. Thank you for the invitation and for joining us today, and where we will check and see investment opportunities in the Basque Country. So we'll go straight to the first point, where are we located? The Basque Country is that red spot you can see on the right side. Is the region located in the north part of Spain, close to the southern part of France. We are just a little bit in the border. And of course, we are located in the southern part of Europe. For those who know a little bit about the Basque Country, we are a very old and tradition industrial region, one of the most industrialized in Europe, home to many Basque multinational companies, but also to many foreign companies that have chosen us to create their subsidiaries to sell and produce in this part of the world of Europe. So I'd like to start with some indicators and some figures about our economy. First one is that our GDP per capita is higher than the EU. Is much higher than the rest of Spain, but also higher than the EU, being one of the most advanced regions in Europe. Our export ratio, as I mentioned, we have many multinationals in our region, due also to our strategic location close to the sea and in the Atlantic axis road in Europe. Many companies are choosing us to produce and export their products, their goods from the Basque Country to many countries in the world. Researchers, we are one of the regions in Spain with the highest percentage of industrial engineers per capita. I will talk about it later, but we have 4 big universities where our students are formed, and later of course, they serve as labor force to our companies. The GDP per capita is one of the highest in whole Europe. Is 23.9% this year. And that's just manufacturing, because as you add the services related to industry and manufacturing, it will go up until 40%. I'm talking about consultancy, engineering, services, and so on and so on. Productivity as well is 21 points higher than the average in the European Union. And the R&D expenditure is 1.86%. It's also very high. And we are recognized as the European Union as one strong innovator, region strong innovator. Okay, so that's a little bit. The Basque Country has 3 different regions. Overall, we are a small country because we are 7,200 kilometers only, with a population of 2,200,000. Okay, so these will be the topics we are going to talk about today. We'll be talking about why we consider ourselves a competitiveness pole. We'll talk about our technology infrastructures, innovation, the talent, universities, dual training system, anything related to that. Of course, we are going to talk about logistics. Because we are a strategic region in terms of logistics, and many investors we had in the previous years are in the logistics sector. We consider ourselves, I'm talking from SPRI, which is the development agency belonging to the Basque government, in charge of help not only supporting foreign investors, but also supporting Basque companies that want to grow. So what we do is just to encourage them and give them tools to keep on growing from the Basque Country and become bigger and bigger. And finally, we'll talk about a little bit about the Basque Country and where it is a great place to be. And for those who have been here, probably you know that, but not, we encourage you. I encourage you to come and visit us because it's a great place to be. Okay, so competitiveness poll. As I mentioned, we have been a very industrialized region through history, but we decided in the last decade that we wanted to also to focus a little bit more our industrial capacities in three sectors, following the RIS3 strategy recommended by the European Union. We decided that our main focus would be in energy, anything related to smart industry, and biohealth. We have this will be a short presentation about our main sectors. Again, we have a extended network of clusters. We have been one of the pioneers in the European Union in creating our clusters network. We back then in the 80s, Mr. Michael Porter came here to Basque Country and worked with us to create this network, and it's proven to be a success story. Even is taught in Harvard University as a case study, so that other regions may learn and take experiences from what we did back then and how we have taken all that job through the years. Automotive sector is also one of very strong sectors. We produce just in this part of the Spain, in our region, Basque Country, we produce almost 50% of the whole of Spain's automotive component parts. This is, of course, you have to bear in mind that Spain is the second biggest car producer in Europe, with 7 OEM plants in Spain. And of course, from here is from the Basque Country, we serve all, not only in Spain, but also due to our location, our companies sell as well to French manufacturers. So it's a quite a strategic location. As you can see there, the automotive cluster has 300 companies selling 20,000 million euros and employing 85,000 employees. Exporting a lot, as you can see there as well, 90%, and with 320 plants all over the world. Everybody knows that the tier 1, tier 2, they have to follow their customers, and of course our companies, they are trusted and required to follow the OEMs wherever they go and cooperate with them. From the 7 plants I mentioned before, of course, 6 of them are in a radius of 200 kilometers. We are even home to a Mercedes-Benz factory in the Basque Country, in Vitoria, but also Volkswagen has a very big factory just 30 minutes away from here. Renault, another one, Peugeot, Citroën has another one in Galicia, and Seat, Volkswagen in Catalonia. So we are surrounded by OEMs, and that's why we are just in the middle to serve all the different OEMs. Some of the examples known all over the world, Gestamp, CE, CIE, Irizar, which is a bus manufacturer, and 38 other bus companies which are multinationals in the automotive sector, and they have plants all over the world. Finally, I wanted to add that we have also, well, the automotive cluster has its own R&D center. It's called the AIC, Automotive Intelligence Center. And it's the pictures you can see in the left part of the slide, and there are many companies, not only Basque companies, not only companies producing here, but many foreign companies. They are installed there to keep on developing their and growing their activities in R&D activities, and cooperating with other Basque R&D centers or companies to keep on just doing research and improving their products. Aeronautics, following now, this is also a very important sector for us, employing almost 15,000 people over the world, and almost 6,000 in the Basque Country. This is a very important sector because of it's a risk-free sector so it's means it's strategic for the future, but also because it's very intensive in R&D, and it requires a big specialization in the workers. We have our own R&D center as well, just focus in aerospace. It's called CFAA. You can see in the bottom part of the slide the name, as well as the CTI, the Technology Center in Aeronautics. What kind of companies we have here? Well, we produce many parts of the components for the planes, starting with motors. So we are home here to the company ITP, which belonged until last year to Rolls-Royce Group this year. And but it's one of the biggest companies in Europe producing engine motors. As well, we have different companies producing parts, components of the plane, like Arnova, like the engineering company Sener, Aciturri, or the engineering company as well, Altran. You can see we have a complete value chain going from aerostructures with Arnova to engine with ITP, system and equipment, and many companies now growing in the space sector. Electronics and ICT, of course, is a growing sector all over the world, and here cannot be an exception. We have the Gaia cluster, which is the cluster for the ICT. They have almost 400 companies in the cluster, employing 25,000 employees. As it is an important strategic sector as well, we created in the Basque Country our cybersecurity center. The Basque government created it, and now it's a hub for cybersecurity, and many companies, Basque, Spanish, and international companies are investing and are creating the facilities here or the offices here just to cooperate. Because of course for us, for the Basque government, the cybersecurity is a strategic field for the future, and our programs are oriented to support companies in this sector as well. Some Basque companies, Ibermática, Euskaltel, Icor, they are historical companies located here, but also we have international companies that came following us, like Microsoft, Vodafone, CTE, Huawei, and so on. So as I'm changing the subject now and the topic, we'll move to R&D. As I mentioned in the beginning of my presentation, our R&D percentage related to the GDP is one of the biggest in the Basque Country, in Europe, sorry, and that's why we are recognized as an innovator by the European Commission. Why is that? Because, for example, we have our own R&D centers alliance. This is an alliance where 14 different existing centers, they gather together, and all together they become one of the top three R&D and institutions in the whole Europe, employing 3,700 researchers, doing investments by more than 300 millions a year, publishing 1,300 papers yearly, and creating 100 patents. This when we talk to investors, why they or when we see analyze why investors decide to come here, well, one of the main reasons is no doubt our BRTA alliance, because of course they value a lot that the knowledge existing in the Basque Country, and how they may benefit from keep on working together with our centers here and improving their technologies and sell their products. So it's something very unique, and that the investors really value. We have also Basque excellence research centers in many fields as well, that they going from physics to mathematics, climate change. And finally, I wanted to mention, of course, that something I did before, that we have and separate R&D centers focus in what are our main sectors. First one on the top left is the Automotive Intelligence Center. Top right would be the Aeronautic Advanced Manufacturing Center. Bottom left, the Basque Cybersecurity Center. And well, this is a picture of the stand, but we also have the wind power manufacturing center. And also, what is important for us, that we inside our technological parks, we have our own centers focus for the big business incubator centers, where we support startups, not only Basque companies, but foreign companies, that they see a much easier way to install and open their subsidiaries in the Basque Country. And we have many startups from all over the world that they move here due to all the reasons we have mentioned already, and they become a part of our entrepreneurial ecosystem, and we support them with our programs just to grow, create a company and grow, and we put them in contact with our traditional companies, and we try to make them cooperate together, and in that way the traditional industrial company has the advantage of getting in contact with the latest technology created by startups. Okay, talent. We are one of the highest regions in Europe with higher education studies. As I mentioned, we have 4 different universities in the Basque Country. The biggest one is the public university. They have campuses all over the Basque Country, and is one of the biggest in terms of in the whole Spain in terms of papers published and researchers and students as well. And also we have 3 big private universities: Mondragón University, Deusto, and the engineering one specialized in just engineering, Tecno from Navarre. One of the most peculiar and important aspects that we have in the Basque Country is that we have developed our own vocational training system, and it has been recognized by the European Union as a test bed for the introduction of applied innovation learning. and a showcase for the rest of the countries. It's we are very proud of it because we have more than above 140 different training cycles, and of course they are very demanded by all our companies. Is 90 above 95% of the students they are hired by a company after finishing in the studies in less than 6 months. So it's very important for our companies because of course they receive trained and specialized workforce and of course it's very important to keep on being competitive in such a internationalized economy or world. Also, what we are proud about is our dual training system, which combines the time that the student is learning in the center with the work and how also they learn working in the company. So they divide the whole day and half the day they are studying and half the day they are already working and being in contact with their inside the companies. So that's how also they in this situation usually when students finish their courses 99% of the students are also hired by the company because of course they have been able to learn through the years how the company works, and for the company they get the most adapted and individualized instruction available, where the student works through 2-3 years and studies and works in the company, and later is hired finally by the company. Okay, changing again the subject to logistics, as I mentioned, the Financial Times recognizes us as the best European mid-size region in connectivity. Why? Well, it's easy to see that this is just pure luck, but we are located in a strategic location in Europe. We have three airports, one of them related just to cargo. We have 2 ports where companies may export. We have an extensive network of highways, railway, and we are located just in the European Atlantic axis. So it's a very very fast way to send your goods to any country in Europe by highway, or just selling in Spain or Portugal, or exporting it to any country around the world. Bilbao is the biggest port in the Atlantic part of Southern Europe. As I mentioned, DHL has the hub for Southern Europe in the Vitoria Airport, cargo airport. And we are home to, of course, as I said, very well connected with our extensive highway network. Well, I'm going to finish by saying that the Basque Country has a special condition inside Spain. We have the ability, we are quite unique system in Europe. We have an agreement with the Spanish government, and we are capable of collecting our taxes. What does it mean? That we are, as we collect our taxes, we also decide how to invest all the money we collect from citizen companies and so on. And this has proved that what is very successful for us, because we may decide where to invest. We create our own industrial plans through the years. We decide the programs we create to the support programs we give to the incentives with the companies. and of course we decide that we invest all that money in our R&D centers to make them keep on developing and so on. And that is a very unique figure in Europe, but of course very successful for us, and the companies established here, they appreciate that system. So as you can see, thanks to this tax autonomy, we are capable to create our own deduction and public incentive systems, no? For especially linked to R&D, but also to new investments, employment, deductions for employment, and so on. We have a complete brochure of incentives intended to make easier for an investor to come to the Basque Country and create a company. Of course, as we are such a small country, we have our own tax authority institution, which is very close to the companies, and it's something that surprises the companies. But we always want the companies to meet with their tax authority and to study together how can they cooperate to, of course, to pay taxes, but pay the right amount of taxes and especially learn about how could they benefit from all the deductions that may be applied in case they do, for example, R&D activities. Also, from the tax point of view, we have to say that we have a lower tax for companies in comparison with the Spanish system. Again, we have many different programs. We have starting from the creation of the company starts with 70,000 euros for the creation of a company, of a startup, but of course goes to until 200,000 more or less in the first 2 years. Also, we have very successful incentive systems where companies may get even to 1.5 million euros loans, or 10% until 10 to 15%, depending if the company is a semi-company, of new investments can be deducted with a grant. R&D activities is one of our main tools for attract companies, and all the R&D activities expenses done in the Basque Country can be deducted until 40% of the intensity. We have other programs. We have cybersecurity programs related to help companies in the 4.0 industry to change their machinery, to update their production lines. Well, many other programs that we can share to anyone who is interested. And finally, to close, as I mentioned at the beginning, we are we have to say, you all of course say it, but Basque Country is one of the places in Europe and recognized by the United Nations with one of the highest standards of living. We have many recognized museums like Guggenheim, Balenciaga, and home to many Michelin restaurant stars. We are famous for our cooking and tradition, and we enjoy here gathering and just going to restaurants or cooking ourselves, and that's very valued by foreigners that want to come here to live, and they appreciate our standards of living. So thank you very much. This is just a small presentation about the Basque Country. Here you have our contact details of the Invest in the Basque Country team, And we are always focused to open to receive any question and support any investor interested in our country and opening a facility in the Basque Country. So thank you very much, eskerrik asko, and see you.